While most countries are racing to build walls, one nation is quietly winning by opening doors, and it's making $38 billion a year doing it. This isn't about oil. It's not about tech. It's not about manufacturing. The Philippines has cracked a code that China, India, and even the United States can't replicate. And today, I'm going to show you exactly how they did it, why 15 countries have tried to copy them and failed, and why this genius strategy might actually be destroying them from the inside. The Philippines exports something more valuable than electronics, more reliable than gold. They export people. Her name was Maria Santos. 34 years old. Manila. 2019. Single mother with a nursing degree, but her salary? $200 a month in a city where rent alone cost $180. She couldn't afford her daughter's asthma medication. Every cough felt like a countdown. So Maria did what millions of Filipinos do. She flew to Dubai as a nurse. Within 6 months, she was sending home $800 every month. 4 times what she used to make. Her daughter got her medication. Her mother got a new roof. Her brother went back to school. Maria isn't alone. Right now, as you're watching this, 10 million Filipinos are working in foreign countries. That's 10% of their entire population. Every single day, 6,000 Filipinos board planes to work abroad. That's the entire population of a small town leaving daily. And they're sending money home. According to World Bank data from 2023, those remittances hit $38.9 billion. That's 11% of the Philippines' entire GDP. To put that in perspective, that's more than what the Philippines earns from tourism, agriculture, and mining combined. But here's what makes this truly unrepeatable. Most countries trying this strategy are making one fatal mistake. They're starting from scratch. The Philippines didn't plan this. They stumbled into it in 1906. When America colonized the Philippines after the Spanish-American War, they made English the primary language of education. For 117 years, every Filipino child has learned English from kindergarten. Not as a subject, as the language of instruction. Dr. Christine Ortega from the Migration Policy Institute said in 2022, the Philippines accidentally created a 117-year head start that no country can catch up to now. Let me show you why this matters. Ricardo Lopez, 28 years old. Construction worker from Cebu. 2020, Ricardo barely finished high school. His technical skills? Average at best. But Ricardo spoke fluent English. When Qatar was hiring for a construction project, they interviewed workers from Pakistan, Vietnam, Bangladesh, and the Philippines. The Pakistani applicant had a civil engineering degree. The Vietnamese guy had 10 years of experience. They hired Ricardo. Because Ricardo could communicate with Australian engineers, translate instructions for the multinational crew, negotiate with suppliers, read safety manuals, and solve problems on the spot. Within a year, Ricardo was a site supervisor making $2,800 a month. This is the invisible advantage. Today, Filipino workers are in 200+ countries. They're nurses in Germany, engineers in Saudi Arabia, caregivers in Canada, teachers in the UAE, domestic helpers in Hong Kong. And here's the crazy part. They're sailors on 30% of the world's merchant ships. Almost 1/3 of every cargo ship, oil tanker, and container vessel on Earth has a Filipino crew member on it. They're everywhere because they can work anywhere. But language is only part 1 of the formula. Part 2 is where it gets controversial. The Philippines weaponized something most countries see as weakness, their colonial past. While other nations fought to erase foreign influence, the Philippines absorbed it, embraced it, and turned it into their greatest export advantage. A 2021 study by Pew Research found that Filipinos score the highest globally in cultural adaptability, 87% versus the global average of 52%. Jennifer Cruz, 42 years old. Teacher from Mindanao. 2018, Jennifer moved to Rome to work as a domestic helper for an Italian family. Different country, different language, different religion, different food. Within 3 months, she was attending Catholic Mass with the family even though she was evangelical. She was cooking carbonara and risotto. She was celebrating Italian festivals. She learned basic Italian phrases. Her employer's elderly parents were so impressed, they hired her directly at double the salary. She doesn't work for us, they said. She's become family. Filipino workers don't just adapt. They assimilate. They celebrate Christmas with Christians, Eid with Muslims, Lunar New Year with Chinese families, Diwali with Indian employers. A Harvard Business Review study from 2022 found that Filipino overseas workers have 40% higher retention rates than other migrant workers. Employers don't just hire them for skills. They hire them because they make a foreign house feel like home. Now here's where other countries realize they've already lost the race. Want to know why China, Indonesia, and Vietnam keep failing at this? They're missing the invisible infrastructure. The Philippines built a government machine specifically designed to export workers, and it's terrifyingly efficient. The PO, the Philippine Overseas Employment Administration, processes 500+ workers every single day. The OWWA, the Overseas Workers Welfare Administration, manages a $1.8 billion insurance fund for workers abroad. There are 80+ Philippine government labor offices in foreign countries. Not embassies. Specialized offices just for workers. Angelo Reyes, 31 years old. Welder from Batangas. 2021. Angelo got scammed by an illegal recruiter and flew to Kuwait on a fake contract. When he landed, his employer confiscated his passport, made him work 16-hour days in 50 degrees Celsius heat, and paid him $200 instead of the promised $1,100. Angelo was trapped. But the Philippine embassy got involved. A government lawyer negotiated his release. In 11 days, Angelo was free. The embassy gave him a flight home for free. The Philippine government sued the recruiter and got him arrested. 2 months later, Angelo was legally redeployed to Australia with a government-verified contract. He's making $4,200 a month now. No other country has this system. If an Indian worker gets exploited in Qatar, they're on their own. If a Vietnamese worker gets trapped in Malaysia, good luck getting your government to care. The International Labor Organization said in 2023 that the Philippines has the world's most comprehensive migrant worker protection system. This isn't charity. It's strategy. The Philippines doesn't just export people. They maintain them, protect them, and bring them home safely. That's why employers trust Filipino workers. That's why recruitment agencies prefer them. That's why they keep getting hired. But now we get to the dark side. The part no one talks about. While the Philippines wins economically, millions of families are paying a price that can't be measured in dollars. Sofia Martinez, 8 years old. Quezon City. 2017, Sofia's mother left for Hong Kong when Sofia was 2 years old. Every Sunday morning, Sofia sits in front of a laptop screen. The internet is slow. Her mom's face pixelates. The audio cuts out. Her mom tries to blow her a kiss through the screen. Sofia waves back. By the time Sofia turned 7, she stopped calling her Mama. She started calling her by her first name, Anna. Because in Sofia's mind, Mama is her grandmother. The woman who actually raised her. Anna is just the woman on the screen who sends money. A 2022 study by the University of the Philippines found that 1 in 4 Filipino children is growing up with at least one parent working abroad. These kids score 23% higher in depression markers and 18% higher in behavioral issues. Teachers call them children left behind. June Santos, 45 years old. Father from Iloilo. 2015 to 2022. 7 years in Saudi Arabia. June sent home $1,800 every month. Built a 3-story house. Paid for his kids' private school. Bought his wife a car. In 2022, June finally came home. Wealthy. Proud. His teenage son doesn't recognize him. He treats me like a stranger who pays the bills, June said in an interview. His son calls him, Sir. Philippine Statistics Authority data from 2023 shows that divorce rates in OFW families are 3.1 times the national average. The money builds houses. But who lives in them? Often, it's everyone except the person who paid for it. Some Filipino economists now call this economic success with social suicide. The children growing up without parents, the marriages falling apart, the emotional distance that money can't bridge. This is the hidden tax of remittances. There's another cost most people don't see. Brain drain. Dr. Patricia Alvarez, 38, graduated top of her medical class at the University of the Philippines in 2010. The Philippine healthcare system desperately needed doctors. Rural clinics were closing. Public hospitals were understaffed. Patricia moved to London. She makes 6 times more as a general practitioner in the UK than she would as a specialist in Manila. "I wanted to stay," she told a reporter in 2023. "But I also wanted to eat." The Philippines trains 70,000 nurses every year. Within 5 years, 60% of them are working abroad. The country spends billions educating healthcare workers for other nations' hospitals. It's the same story in engineering, IT, education. The Philippines produces talent. The world consumes it. A 2021 Asian Development Bank report estimated that the Philippines loses $1.2 billion annually in education investments when skilled workers emigrate. They're subsidizing the workforce of wealthier nations. And here's the cruel irony. The families left behind often can't access quality healthcare or education because the professionals have all left. At least 15 countries have tried to copy the Philippines model. Every single one has failed. Let's start with India. India has the skills, the English, the population, the diaspora. But Indian workers abroad send money for investment, real estate, startups, gold. Filipinos send money for family, food, tuition, healthcare. Different motivation. Different economic impact. India's remittances are huge in total dollars, but as a percentage of GDP? Tiny. Vietnam tried to create an export labor program in 2015. Sent workers to Japan, South Korea, Taiwan. By 2020, they quietly abandoned it. But Vietnamese workers couldn't adapt culturally. They faced discrimination. High return rates. Legal problems. They had the skills but not the cultural flexibility. Indonesia sends 4.5 million workers abroad. More than half of what the Philippines sends. But remittances? Only $9.4 billion. Less than 1% of GDP. The infrastructure isn't there. The protection isn't there. The strategic systems aren't there. Bangladesh tried. Pakistan tried. Sri Lanka tried. They all failed for the same reasons. You can't manufacture a century of language evolution. You can't force cultural adaptability. You can't build institutional infrastructure overnight. The Asian Development Bank said in 2023, the Philippine OFW model requires 3 things: multi-generational language adoption, deep cultural flexibility, and government systems built over decades. No shortcut exists. You can't just decide to do this. It has to evolve over a century. But here's the billion-dollar question. What happens when the export runs out? Right now, the Philippines is approaching a dangerous crossroads. For the first time since 1980, the number of Filipinos leaving each year is starting to slow. 2019, 6,000 workers leaving per day. 2024, 4,800 workers leaving per day. But because the Philippine economy is actually growing, the middle class is expanding. Wages are rising 4 to 6% annually. Manila is becoming expensive. Jobs are improving. Opportunities are increasing. The business process outsourcing industry, call centers, IT services, digital work, now employs 1.5 million Filipinos domestically and generates $29 billion annually. That's almost as much as remittances. Tech startups are booming. Real estate is exploding. Foreign investment is pouring in. Imagine this scenario. By 2035, working as a nurse in Manila pays almost as much as working in Dubai. Why would anyone leave? Here's the paradox. If the Philippines gets too successful domestically, their greatest international advantage disappears. World Bank economist Dr. Miguel Rivera said in 2024, the OFW golden age may only last another 10 to 15 years. Liza Aquino, 29 years old, nurse in Singapore. 2023. Liza got a job offer back in Manila. $1,200 a month versus $2,100 in Singapore. Mathematically, she should stay. But Liza said, "I'm coming home. The money's not worth missing my niece grow up anymore." She's not alone. Hundreds of thousands are asking the same question. Is it time to stop leaving? The Philippine government sees this coming. They're already pivoting. In 2023, they launched the Balik Scientist Program, incentives for Filipino scientists and researchers abroad to return home. Tax breaks, research grants, housing allowances. They're building innovation hubs in Manila, Cebu, and Davao, creating tech corridors, attracting multinational companies to set up regional headquarters. The plan is ambitious. Transform from a labor export economy to a knowledge-based economy by 2040. But there's a problem. 50 years of cultural conditioning doesn't disappear overnight. Filipino parents still dream of their kids becoming nurses or seafarers. Not because they love those professions, but because they're tickets abroad. High school career counselors still push overseas employment as the path to success. The entire education system is optimized for export. Nursing schools outnumber engineering schools 3-1, not because the Philippines needs more nurses, but because other countries do. Breaking this cycle requires a fundamental reimagining of national identity. And that's terrifying. The Philippines is facing an identity crisis. For 50 years, their economy has been built on exporting people. Their national heroes aren't inventors or generals, they're overseas workers. There are monuments to OFWs in major cities. Songs written about them. They're called Bagong Bayani, new heroes. But if that stops, who are they? Can the Philippines build a future where success doesn't require a passport? Where staying home isn't considered settling? Where families don't have to choose between financial security and being together? Some economists are optimistic. They point to South Korea and Taiwan, countries that once exported labor in the 1960s and 70s, but transformed into advanced economies within a generation. Others are pessimistic. They argue the Philippines is trapped. That remittances are an addiction the economy can't quit. That the moment workers stop leaving, the country collapses. The truth is probably somewhere in between. The Philippines has options other countries don't. A young population, English fluency, a strategic location, a growing digital economy. But they also have challenges. Corruption, infrastructure gaps, political instability, income inequality. The next 10 years will determine everything. So here's what I want you to think about. Is the Philippines model genius or tragic? Are they winning economically but losing culturally? Can you really call it success when your greatest export is watching your children grow up over a video call? And here's the real question, the one I want you to answer honestly. If your country could send 10% of its population abroad to make billions of dollars, would you do it? Drop your country and your answer in the comments. I'm reading every single one. And if you're Filipino, tell me this. Would you rather your kids work abroad and be rich, or stay home and be together? Because in 10 years, this advantage might not exist anymore. And the Philippines will finally have to answer the question they've been avoiding for a century. Who are we when we stop leaving?